Can you get one score higher in your IELTS exam in just 6 months? And even harder, can you achieve that with self-study? Yes and no. Yes, because I know such students and I will tell you their stories. And no, since it is tough. You should exactly know your path. Otherwise, no chance. And this video is fortunately about the yes part, how you can do this. Look at these data from IELTS official website about what determines the time you need to reach a certain band score. These are factors affecting how quickly you can improve your IELTS band score. As you see, there are 5 factors and why each one is important. Ignore the first, second, and third ones. They are not under your control. What you can control is number 4. Number 5 is your stress, and the more your level improves, the less you feel it. So today, this is not our focus. Why we want to talk just about number 4 today? Because from my own experience, this is the paramount factor. Do you have aptitude, which is the natural ability to learn? Do you have motivation, which is enough reasons to make you try your best? And do you have learning strategies? Means the methods, the tools to study and practice as efficient as possible. This last one, learning strategies, sounds exciting. And today's video is all about improving your learning strategies. I got the idea of making this video from one of my students who achieved her goal. To tell you briefly about her, she was a new immigrant to Canada. However, at that time that she was my student, she was just a tourist there and in need of IELTS band 6 or 6.5 within 5 or 6 months to become eligible to continue her immigration journey. And her first score was 5.5. And interestingly, she was in her 40s. That's why I said ignore the other items and just consider number 4 in that table, because number 4 is the key. Anyway, during the first months of her immigration, she couldn't afford any institute or expensive class or teacher to improve her IELTS score. And approaching me, she asked about the best resources and strategies to study on her own while spending the least budget. I helped her the best I could. And finally, unfortunately, it worked. She sent me an email thanking me, and it was so touching that I decided to make this video and share those resources and practices with other similar candidates. Because I know if you are a university student, if you are supporting your family financially, if you are not living in a developed country, and so on, you can't spend much money on your IELTS. So I guess this video will be immensely helpful for all you guys. Now let's open the plan, the self-study program. Before starting, if you really want to improve from something like 5.5 to 6 or 6.5 in just something like 6 months, both quality and quantity matter. For quantity, my suggestion is studying for something like 5 to 8 hours a day. And for quality, in this video, I'm gonna introduce many strategies so you can have effective learning with the highest efficiency. All the books, the links, everything that I'm about to mention are in the description. So don't worry, you'll find them there. Just focus and give me your ears. Another point is there is literally zero partnership for this video. I'm just suggesting the tools that I found efficient myself with no financial benefit. For each section, I'm gonna tell you firstly the resources and secondly the strategy, how to use those resources, which is probably the more important part. So let's discuss them one by one. Vocabulary, not just in speaking and writing, but also in listening and reading. You do need to know a lot of words. For the resources, there are numerous books, but one of the best ones exactly designed for IELTS exam is this, Cambridge Vocabulary for IELTS. You see, even in the title, it says it's a self-study book. Another very similar option could be this one, Cambridge Vocabulary for IELTS Advanced, Band 6.5 Plus, which is basically the same as the previous book, with just some minor changes. So whichever you find is okay. You can buy the physical one, borrow it from a friend or from a library, have the ebook, print the ebook, whatever you think suits you. If you think these books are too hard for you, like you don't know 60 or 70% of each unit, start from this one, Intermediate Vocabulary from Oxford. It gives you the basics to understand many English contexts. And it is quite common. I'm sure you can find it everywhere. And now the strategy, how to study these books. Do not take the traditional approach, studying and reading to the end of the unit and then the next unit. Oh, that doesn't work. You should study only 50% of the new words in each unit. Why and how? For why, you don't have all the time in the world. You just have 5 months, 6 months, and you need to be able to think and talk or write about almost every topic. Just in your speaking section, the topics may start from talking about your neighborhood and then talking about a childhood memory and then parental roles. For another candidate, there may be the recent development in their city and then a gift they received and then tourism. My real suggestion is 50% is enough. Just move forward to the end of the book. And how to choose those 50%? Imagine there are 20 new words in a lesson. You choose 10 of them. Which 10 ones? Those ones that you think you've heard of them somewhere. You kind of, not completely, know the meaning. Or that word is interesting to you. Or you can memorize it faster because the spelling, the pronunciation is easier. Since the final point is using them in your speaking or in your writing, choose the ones that you feel more comfortable with. Then study the sample sentences, find the collocations, all the points about those words in the book, and after studying them completely, the final step is closing the book, writing those 10 words on a piece of paper or on your screen, and trying to describe somebody or something with them. One of the best ways is connect all of them together in one story. And even if you don't have a true story, tell a lie. Why not? Imagine something and try to describe that. When you are making that story, record your voice, speak out loud and record your voice, and then listen to yourself. Find your mistakes, correct your mistakes, check your pronunciation, your grammar, your prepositions, everything. This practice is like a miracle to activate those words, and you yourself can be your best supervisor. You can listen to yourself, and I bet you will find many mistakes in your own voice. You can correct yourself a lot. By the way, if there are so many similar words that you are feeling confused, I made this video about the practical ways to group words so you won't confuse them with each other and you'll recall them much easier later. About the grammar part. Please take your grammar seriously. The nicest words with wrong grammar mean nothing. Imagine that in your first language. If a person is using some top-notch words, but in the sentence, they are not in their places, that's meaningless, yeah? 2 groups of resources. The first one is the books. You can use intermediate grammar from Oxford or this English Grammar in Use, the self-study version. They are kind of the same, and they are so commonplace that you can find them almost everywhere. The book, the ebook, maybe a library or a friend can lend one of them to you. Okay, the point here is these books have a lot of lessons. Which one should you study? And now is the time to introduce the second resource, the worksheet resource. There are many worksheets on the internet, but I prefer this website, and all of them are free to download. How to use it? Go to the grammar part, B1 level, intermediate, because this is your level, and here you are. All the grammatical rules you have to know and should be able to use are here. It may seem daunting and too much at first glance, but I bet you already know many of them. Let me open one of these worksheets and show you how they work. For example, if type 1. In all of these worksheets, just like this one, there is one page of questions and one page for answers. Write your answers and then check them, as simple as that. And if you couldn't find the grammar books that I mentioned before, search that grammatical rule that you had the mistake with and study it on the internet. Two of the best places to learn grammar, the standard sites, are Cambridge Dictionary and Grammarly. The point is, if you notice a mistake in your answers and you see you don't know why, like it wasn't a typo, it was my real mistake, that shows your weakness. In order to learn that grammar, go to the book, in the table of contents, find the unit or units, study them and practice, and then come back to check your answers again with the worksheet. And then don't forget, again, just like the vocabulary part, for the grammar part, you need to make your stories, your scenarios. Choose a topic like describing a trip, a memory, a happening, a person, and try to put a lot of that grammar in your description. Record your voice, listen to yourself, find the mistakes. You can check this playlist of mine to improve some parts of your grammar too. And now your IELTS skills, starting from listening. In order to be able to have a decent listening test, you should know the format, the timing, the sections, the question types, and how to answer each type. For resources, my first recommendation is Lee's website. If you don't know her, she's one of the first teachers starting to teach how to take IELTS exams with all its details. In this link, you can find the general information. Here there are the test sections, all forms of questions, you see. One by one, they are explained. Additionally, there are sample questions with transcriptions, answers. For example, for this question type, you see there is explanation, a total instruction, and then some sample questions with their transcriptions, answers, and why these answers are the answers. Study them carefully. All these details are super important, are critical. Personally speaking, I learned a lot from Liz. I used to be one of her hidden, online, unknown students, consuming her content on the internet. So Liz, if you're watching this video, I'm so grateful for your help. My second recommendation for the resource part is Cambridge Books. Recently, number 19 has been published. The more you can study with them, the better. Number 13 to 19, I think, are okay for your practice. At least number 16 to 19, from my perspective, are necessary for your IELTS exam. And now the method, how to use these Cambridge Books. Take the test from yourself, just like the exam, with the same style and timing. Then check your answers with the book. Find the mistakes and why you did those mistakes and what was the answer word. If you don't know the word in the answer, or if you couldn't recognize it in the track, add it to your word list. You have to have a word list, including all the words that you want to memorize. One section, for example, for just listening words, because the key words are gonna be repeated in the next exams. Here, the dictation matters a lot because you have to write that answer, on your own. Beside dictation, pronunciation, meaning, grammar, basically every single aspect of that word matters. Learn the word completely, okay? One extremely effective way of improving and boosting your listening score is using your free time. And what to do? When you are on the way or you're waiting for somebody and so forth, don't kill your time. Instead, listen to something in English. You might enjoy this podcast, which is exactly for B1 level, your goal, And as you can see here, there are transcriptions, some tests to check your understanding, and worksheets, including all the vocabulary that you listen to. They are all available too. And let me repeat this because this is vital to know. This is really important. Again, these words should not be passive in your mind. Like you just know them, you can just hear them, you can just notice them. No, you should be able to use them, which means the first practice of using them is making some sentences with them. So your mind can relate to these words and memorize them as fast as possible. If you have many problems with your pronunciation and can understand natives, I've gathered some pronunciation tips in this playlist. You can watch and improve your pronunciation. For reading, the resources and the strategies are kind of the same as the ones for listening. The first free resource is again Lee's website. Here you can see all the descriptions, sections, question types, and every detail you need. Study them with full attention and concentration. The sample questions are totally helpful too. For me, I remember I had a lot of problems with true, false, and not given questions, especially with distinguishing false from not given. And just after going to Lee's website and reading her clarifications and explanations, I finally understood the difference. So I do owe her for my Band 9 in reading. And after reading all these parts carefully, the approach is the same as listening. The next resource is Cambridge Books. Take the tests, check your answers, and note down the keywords. However, don't forget, this is not the real test. It's the practice before the exam, right? Therefore, if you are making so many mistakes, if you don't have the time to finish a section, even if you cannot finish the test within 1 hour, no problem. Do not lose your confidence. It's totally normal. Just keep having a timer while you are taking the test and force yourself to be faster. And you'll see the results soon. Just be patient. Improving your speed and your focus at the same time is not something easy to do. Yet it is possible and achievable after some practice. Writing, the most difficult skill. It's not just my opinion. It's not the way just you feel about it. It's a fact. Look at this. Writing really is the hardest one, with scores lower than other skills. Let's start from task 2. There are many high-quality books, but I prefer this one. Task 2 Ielts Writing by Adam Smith. It shows how you write step by step, and if you study it with full concentration and practice with every single page, I can assure you'd achieve your writing goal. The first 60-ish pages are instructions, and then there are many sample answers. If that book is not available to you, this book has something to say too, the official Cambridge Guide to IELTS. Now, writing task 1. This source is perfect for general module, get IELTS Band 9 in general training. And this one for academic module, task 1 IELTS writing academic training. You know, for task 1, the easy part is that there are some limited forms for the question and for the answer. So in these two books, these situations for the answer and the question are repeated, and you can learn all of them after just studying like half of the books. In case of emergency, if you couldn't find these books, I recommend visiting Lee's website as a whole well-organized collection for all points and aspects of writing. Don't forget, when you learned a section or a part in the book, close the book and try to write what you learned on your own. Find your weaknesses, go and check the book, and give it a try again. The super important task to improve your writing is actually writing. Write while you are using the grammar and the vocabulary that you have learned. You know what? I've seen many IELTS candidates and English learners wanting to improve their writing but don't write. It's so obvious and makes sense why they don't feel their improvement. Imagine you want to become a football player. You watch all the reports, know all the rules, follow all the famous figures. On the other hand, you've never been in the field, you've never hit the ball. Isn't it clear why you haven't become a football player? It's the same for bolstering and boosting your English skills. For each ability, you have to practice that skill itself. Listen for listening, read for reading, write for writing, and speak out loud for speaking. And if you desire to get some ideas for your writing task 2, especially Cambridge questions number 18 and 19, check this playlist. In each video, there are 3 main ideas for each body paragraph with their explanations and with their related words and collocations, specifically the higher level ones. For speaking, finding the resource and the strategy can be as difficult as the writing skill. And the reason is you need to have speaking samples to work with. Actually speaking the voice so you can see the intonation, the pronunciation, and all the speaking features. Let me introduce another online teacher of mine who maybe never found my thanks and comments. Keith O'Hare. Keith, if you're watching this video, I'm so thankful to have you, to find you. You helped me more than anybody else. This is his channel on YouTube. Browse it completely, especially go to these playlists for part 1, 2, and 3. He explains how to master the format of the exam, the context of each answer, and basically every detail you need. There may be too much information in his channel. Don't panic. You can use the rule we had for the vocabulary part here too, learning just 50% of the new ones. And one of the best strategies, in fact a miracle, to develop your speaking skill is shadowing. What is the shadowing exercise? Watch a sample answer to the end to get the total point, the whole answer for that question, and then watch it again. But this time, pause after a simple short sentence or a couple of words or a phrase. Repeat the part that you just listened to, just like he himself, just like Keith. Watch your tone, intonation, and pronunciation. Everything should be the same as the way he speaks. The best way to take the English rhythm while speaking this language is shadowing. Just a little point is, he's British, however with a standard accent, not too much British. If you prefer to have an American accent, no big deal. Use the American pronunciations and alternatives. Just be informed for IELTS examiners, especially for bands up to 7, your accent doesn't matter. Even mixed accents, speaking with both American and British pronunciations, can be acceptable. It's not a weakness. The final tip is a review is a primary task. You tend to forget whatever you learned until you review them. So some days, like weekends, for example, just Sundays, could be a nice choice for your review time. Each weekend, re-study what you learned in the previous week. If you like my content, please hit the subscription and like buttons. I hope you found all these tools handy and wish you the best in your exam day. See you in the next video. Bye!